It's our strategy to go overseas. Singapore plus one is whereby we say Singapore is head office. We have smart people here, we have manpower here, but we know that for processing, for example, manufacturing, having a blue collar workers, Singapore sometimes is just not feasible. Manufacturing is one of our largest sectors, but high precision fabrication, for example, a bit more high value add kind of manufacturing work. Other than that, it's not feasible to have too much of your operations here. So the plus one strategy that we are referring to is actually, for example, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam. This is actually our key locations. So for myself, I handle the Malaysia market, we have our Indonesia market and our Vietnam market as well. So these are just some things that you can think about. China, India also very popular for sourcing. Japan is a very niche market. Okay, we go into business landscape. Today my talk is very short. I have 30 minutes.
20.
Okay, I'll make it in 15. I'll go through only 3 key points. So I'll just go into a bit of the Malaysian business landscape, and then I'll talk a bit on Bumiputera. I think this is something that has a lot of myths around, and then I'll go into the licensing part that everyone must know. Okay. So if you don't already know, if you need a lot of logistics, Malaysia, we have 2 of our major ports. The popular ones is Tanjung Pelepas. This is near Iskandar Puteri. It's one of the top 20 ports in the world, I think. In the world, yes. And then we have Port Klang. Port Klang is near Selangor, so I think this one most of you are familiar with. Okay. Singapore, as you know, is a massive place. We have 247 industrial parks across our 13 states. We have different industrial parks for different use. So we have high-tech industrial park, we have halal industrial park, we have some specifically for steel, and of course in our industrial parks we have the heavy, medium and light weight, different locations they classify. We have 62 licensing agencies. Later on I'll touch a bit on what kind of licensing you need to go through. But just as you would imagine, Singapore is very small, not much licensing. Malaysia is many times its size, so a lot more licensing. We have online licensing, we have manual over-the-counter licensing, a lot of options to choose from. And then we have 18 free industrial zones. Industrial zone, I'm sure you heard in the news, there's a new special economic zone in Iskandar Puteri. We have also personally gone down to MIDA, the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, last Tuesday. And unfortunately, they haven't solidified anything. In fact, when I asked the officer, they said, oh yeah, we released a press release to say only, okay? But there's nothing that's solid.
Throw the stone first.
Throw the stone first. So they commit to it first. But all the details, they haven't released anything. But we are definitely really looking forward to it. Iskandar Puteri is growing very rapidly nowadays. We are no longer looking into only JB City. And then, okay, we go quickly into the Bumiputera. The truth is that it's very easy to set up companies in Malaysia. It can be 100% foreign owned now for certain sectors. So if you are in health, social services, tourism, transport, business, computer, this is 100% foreign owned is fine. Import, export is fine. Management consultancy is fine. What else? Digital marketing, IT, education, consultancy is fine. School, learning center is not fine. There are certain sectors, so this will be education. So schools, learning center all need to apply license. Communication, telecommunication need to apply license. But if you are trading the products, like different items, products or goods, then you need license because it's under import export. Then multimedia, freight forwarding, shipping. I think these are quite standard. Even in Singapore, they are a bit regulated as well. Okay, specifically, they have the whole list. I think the key point to take note in Malaysia is that before you want to enter, you should just consult someone, us preferably, consult someone to know exactly your industry, what are the restrictions. In Malaysia, the forms of restriction can be capital restriction, not capital restriction, capital requirement. So there could be a minimum paid up capital of, let's say, 1 million ringgit for wholesale retail trade. If you want to do trading retail, 1 million ringgit paid up capital. Even if you want to do management consultancy, tech company, digital marketing company, all these that usually is quite easy to set up, there's a 500,000 ringgit paid up capital requirement. So just take note of these. And then other kinds of restrictions that they can have, things like, for example, in the banking sector or some financial services sector, if you want to outsource major parts of your work, like for example compliance, you need approval from bank negara. You cannot simply just outsource important functions. And then government procurement, of course, if you are tendering, let's say you are in construction, certain things they want you to have, like there's a Bhumiputra ownership requirement for construction companies. Franchising sector, as long as you want to franchise your business, you need to register with the franchise registrar, and the franchise registrar has their own requirements for certain kinds of business. If it's going to be bubble tea, for example, they might want to restrict. If it's going to be a mamak shop, sell roti canai one, they think that it's something that locals can do, so they might not even let you franchise. So within each industry, even though they say it is 100% liberalized, but there are still certain requirements you need to take note of. Other than all these licensing requirement, paid up capital requirement, I think there's always a very negative connotation that we need to try, then they just won't let us do business, won't let us run business. But the requirements are stated in the licensing. So find out what licenses you actually need to get first. Other than that, if you want to purchase property, there is Bhumi land and non-Bhumi land. So make sure you are purchasing the non-Bhumi land. And then even in purchasing Bhumi land, they will ask you to show all your licenses to show that you have the capability to run the business there, etc. I can give a simple example. I have a client that purchased factory in Penang. It was originally non-Bhumi land, but previously it was a Bhumi owner. So the transfer of ownership had a lot of complications. And then whether or not this manufacturing facility could get a manufacturing license was a separate question as well. So just take note of all these things. This is the paid up capital requirements that I mentioned just now. Okay, paid up capital requirements. I think by now, what I have to say is that just because you pass the first level of incorporation doesn't mean that down the road there won't be any changes in licensing requirements or policies. Okay, so for example, incorporate actually your paid up capital 1,000 ringgit. Then you need to get a business premise license. Paid up capital, maybe 1,000 still can. After that, if you need to get, for example, management consultancy license, letter of exemption, they call it, then you need to increase to 500,000 ringgit. Later on, if you want to go into HR and then you want a recruitment license, then you need to increase it to a certain amount again. So just because you clear one section doesn't mean that future, when you want to do different activities, it will be good. So you need to have a compliance officer in the company. Okay. And then we go into processes. Okay, this is the procedure. Incorp, bank account opening, this is something that every one of us knows. All business owner, you will have gone through this. The only difference Malaysia versus Singapore is that in Malaysia, your corpsec must be qualified. It cannot just be your mother, father, whoever. Must have this, MIA, something, Malaysian Institute of Accountants, or they must be a chartered secretary. So you cannot just ask anyone to be the secretary. And then their names are very, very complicated. You cannot put king, queen, anything to do with the royal family. And because they have Bahasa and English together, you cannot mix Bahasa and English together. Either you choose Bahasa or you choose English. So a few rules over there. And the name itself will take 3 working days to approve. Not like our Accra here where it's instant. The name there is 3 working days. Explain to me why you want to choose this name as well. Whatever explanation you give is up to you, but you have to go through this process. And then compliance for bank account opening, I would say at this time, I find it more difficult than Singapore to open. Some people have the impression that Malaysia compliance is okay lah, everything boleh. They also have the impression that everything under table boleh, but that's not the truth anymore. At least the compliance is actually very strict. Bank Negara is one of the strictest authority in Southeast Asia when you compare. I think even more strict than MAS. Their currency is even controlled. So it's no joke like you have to really go through the compliance. Okay, 3 levels of licensing. In Malaysia, you have general, sector or industry specific, and then you have activity specific. So for example, if you are doing manufacturing, you need a business premise license to approve that your premise is approved by health department, environmental department, the police have to come and do a site visit, and the fire station, the Ali Bomba, have to come and do a site visit as well, just to get business premise license. After that, you need to go to the authority governing manufacturing, which is MITI or MIDA, Ministry of Industrial Trade or Ministry of Investment and Development Authority, to get manufacturing license or exemption for manufacturing license. If you're in wholesale retail trade, you need to go to Ministry of Domestic Trade. If you are in technology services or management consultancy services, you are also under Ministry of Domestic Trade. So after your business premise, you need to get one license from them. After that, you need to get activity-specific license. So this is the part where I mentioned it's a very variable component depending on what activities you are conducting. If you want to hire a foreigner, you need to get approval from them. You need to get a license from them. You need to get quota approval from them. You want to do GST, then GST registration. So it can go on and on and on. So just now I mentioned there are 62 licensing agencies. And each agency doesn't mean one agency, one license. One agency can have 10 to 20 licenses as well, so there's a lot of licensing things to consider. Okay, after you get all your licenses, then you have your operational setup, which is your customs account registration, tax exemption application, social security, CPF, all this. Then finally, visa application if you need. Okay, we're going to go into a bit of a case study. I'm very much on time. Okay, procedure. Here, company incorp bank account opening, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, you can incorp your company. Bank account opening another 3 to 4 weeks, so total about 1 month to get that initial process going. Usually, by the time you get your bank account, you can start signing contract, start business, it's okay. As long as in the next stage, you're going to start applying for business license. If you start business already, the town council police can come down and do an audit, check your premise, and you can just show them yeah, I'm in application, so it's okay. Once, you're going to be let off. Twice, you'll be okay. 3 times, you better make sure you have a good reason why it delayed. Okay, so after incorp, bank account open, so this is the one I mentioned. Your business premise license is, I think it's too small for you to need, right? You can see it. Okay. Police, fire department, health, safety, environment. Then approval from them, then only you can apply business premise, signboard license. This one, different council, different town have different council. JB itself has like 5 or 6 town council already. So if you're at Iskandar Putri, you're Iskandar Putri. JB, then you are JB City Centre. KL have KL, Subang has Subang, PJ have PJ, so there are different ones. And because, for example, even within PJ itself is very big, so PJ has 3 MBPJs. So you have to, that's how it is. After you're done with this, then you go manufacturing license, this one is the one I mentioned, and then your special permits. If you are dealing with restricted goods or you're dealing with specific restricted activities, then you need specific permits for different things. Actually, education is an example as well. So if you are dealing with higher education, on top of Ministry of Education, you also need to go through what they call it, home affairs or social.
Mine is more of adult
learning. Then it's fine. Yeah. Then after that, tax exemption, more applicable to people who deal a lot with customs. Then finally, freight forwarder. This case study is for steel manufacturing company. So this is the procedure. This one. I regret to inform all of you that there's no more work permit quota being issued. If you are in an industry that requires work permits, that means blue collar worker, there's no more new quota being issued.
Blue collar foreign worker.
Foreign worker, Bangladeshi, China, India. So they're moving towards trying to push everyone to hire local Malaysian. So it's not important because in your construction business, I know what you're going there for, but you might be disappointed if you find out about this. Even the existing companies with existing work permit quota, if it's unutilized and by the end of next month still unutilized, they will actually cancel all unutilized quota. So what you have now in the country is what you get. Your only solution is either you hire local Malaysian or you do a contract work. That means one staff, one blue collar worker might be assigned to multiple different companies. Very grey area. Actually, I never said that. Just hire local Malaysian please. So this one you have to think on.
Sorry, I have a question. So does this mean that if a company in the construction sector or manufacturing sector were to set up for manufacturing operations in Malaysia, they have to hire local Malaysians?
Yes.
Is there a source for appeal if they are unable to demonstrate that they are unable to find local Malaysians suitable for the role?
You can apply employment pass. Employment pass is
Higher salary.
high level. I think 5,000 ringgit and above.
They learn all the bad things from Singapore. They learn all the bad things. No good thing.
Also, it's important before you go into Malaysia, consult on even your business activity. There are many moratoriums that are going on now. Freight forwarding license no longer issuing. Steel manufacturing no longer issuing. Tobacco, I think they also put on hold. So you have to check all these.
And you want to check the ASP and the NSP, like service provider.
Yeah, I think that one need to
The
check.
service provider and the application service provider.
Application, yeah, I think that one need to check. Because this one, they already listed that it's restricted to foreigner.
Yeah.
So I won't be surprised if they're not even issuing new license. Yeah, so be careful. And then, okay, last one. This is my last slide already. I'm on time. Corporate tax rate. Still competitive. 24% is our headline. I mean the headline in Malaysia. But if you are a small company, so payment capital less than 2.5 mil, you can be subject to this ladder rate. 15%, 17%, 24% according to your chargeable income. So I feel it's competitive to Singapore. Okay, that's it.
Sorry, good question again. In your previous slide, you said there are many restrictions. If you have a Bhumipustra as a partner, do you think some of those can be relaxed?
Yes, so actually we have many successful cases of Singapore companies in Malaysia. If you can get past, for example, 500,000 ringgit paid up capital, which is 150k Sing, then you don't even need to consider a JV or anything like that. It's just that when you compare Singapore, 1,000 Sing can start a business versus 150k Sing. But if you're serious about the business, you already have this amount of capital, then I would say just go for it as 100% foreign ownership. But I do agree that if you want to do tendering for government projects, it will be helpful to have a Bumi share in there.
How about Bumi director only?
Doesn't make a difference. It's the shareholder that they're looking at.
Don't worry, later you all can ask more questions. Let me finish so that I can eat first before you go further.